Hey everyone, welcome to Day 16 as we journey through the book of Acts together. We're in chapter 16 today. I have to be honest, chapter 16 is one of my favorite chapters in the book of Acts. It deals with Apostle Paul meeting Timothy, and then it speaks about the expansive, beautiful, powerful gospel of Jesus Christ. Paul meets Timothy. There are certain things that happen in life where we meet somebody and we know it was not coincidence, it was not luck, because Christians don't believe in any of that. It was by the providence and it was by the hand of God. There are many people that God introduced to you, people who really discipled you, mentored you. Do you think that happened because you were in the right time, in the right moment, and just all the stars aligned? Or is it because God moved everything in all situations so that you can get to know that person? When you accepted Jesus, who was it that led you? For Timothy, I believe it was that moment to meet someone who he needed to meet so that he could lean into somebody to learn from and to be discipled. Now, we know about the Macedonian call. Apostle Paul was restricted from going into Asia, but rather he sees in a vision that they were in need of help from Macedonia, and so immediately he goes. We see the obedience in Apostle Paul. But I want to focus on these three characters. And number one, it's the conversion of Lydia. Lydia was a person, a businesswoman, a very successful businesswoman who was from Thyatira, who was a seller of purple goods. Now that means that she was probably selling purple dye, purple goods to people who were of high social status. She has a conversation with Apostle Paul, and it says in Scripture her heart was opened. She was highly intellectual. She was highly a person of something that would not just be an emotional thing, but it would have to be a dialogue of making sense. But something happened in her heart where she just accepted Jesus Christ. The second person that we get to meet is this slave girl. She had this demonic spirit, and she was used or abused and enslaved by these owners who were using her demonic spiritual gifting, which is bad. If you understand the Old Testament, it speaks against fortune telling. Now, she believes because Paul casts out that evil spirit in that hour, it is casted out, and she believes in Jesus Christ. Now the owners are pretty upset because they have lost wages. They were using her to gain money, but now that she lost it, or she was casted of this evil spirit, they were in an uproar. Now she was someone who was powerless, who was oppressed, who had nothing in sight, but she was given freedom and she was given her power back, the power of the gospel. And the final person is the Philippian jailer. Instead of seeing the freedom of escape, they used escape and the freedom to witness to this Philippian jailer. Now, there was a great earthquake. It shook the foundation of the prison. Their bonds were loosened, and the jailer was about to take his own life, but Apostle Paul doesn't escape. He stays there. He uses that as a witness to share the gospel. And do you know what happens? The jailer says, "What can I do? What do I need to do to be saved?" And we later hear that they were saved, him and his whole household. Now these three people in different backgrounds, different intellectual, social status, we understand the expansiveness and the power and the beauty and the depthness of the gospel. This is how powerful it is. And the gospel has never left and never lost its power. In a moment, as we are going through in the history of our nation, this is what we need to hold on to. The gospel still has power, and it can hit and come and just wreck us with His grace so that we can know the full knowledge of who Jesus Christ is. As you read chapter 16, know this: God has placed certain people in your life, not by chance, not by coincidence. It's the very act of God. And remember the power of the gospel. Welcome to Day 16.